So here I wanted to talk a little bit about reflection again, and it's something that I've got really interested in doing, and spending actually considerable amounts at the end of each lesson with students, just reflecting on what they've learned and how they can improve from there. And over the years, what I found is I need to give them some sort of system to do that. If I send them away just to say, oh, go and evaluate, usually because they come from quite competitive backgrounds and schools are quite competitive, that actually all they want to do is justify how well they've done and prove to everyone how well they've done. And I can't really kind of fault them for that. So this is about giving students those kind of skills so that they can become more independent and reflect on that. So what I've devised is actually a system of questions taken from all sorts of different kinds of theories on reflection. And if you look at the screen, this is the kind of template that I get students to use. So what you get to start with is I've divided up into key points that students can kind of remember. So you've got the picture, the learning, the point, the success, and the solution. And so those are like the key areas that I'll expect students to cover in any kind of evaluation. Higher level students, I'll expect them to do a lot more writing, a lot more in depth. With maybe lower level students, maybe on level 2 or level 3, at the start of a level 3 program, I might structure it even more and have more questions inside that. What I really like doing at this stage is actually helping the students do this kind of a reflective log, and actually we can do it as as a group instead of just students doing it individually, and then they can see how others have reflected on what they've learned. So here's a tool that I use for that kind of a process, isn't it? So it's a Wi-Fi keyboard, really simple. If you've got small groups, you could bunch them up around a computer or something like that. But what I'll do is I'll ask students to, for example, describe what we've done in the session, and then I'll type it directly in front of them. So if we look at the screen, I've got a clear blank template where I can start to say, we used pattern definition tools in Photoshop. And yeah, it is a bit scary typing in front of a lot of people, but actually you start to get the hang of it, and then we'll fill that up and we'll go on to the next box. So what techniques have you learned particularly? And we'll type into there straight away. The nice thing is that as students get a little bit more confident, I can actually go around to any people in the group and pass it around. We could do one by one. I've always kind of hated that process because being the last student in the line, I'm terrified and want to leave kind of thing and shrink up and die. So you could do it more at random, or you could start off with students who feel more confident, things like that. Or they could all type into this anonymously and then send in the info and you could paste it in there. There's all sorts of different methods to do that. I wanted to show you one that I had previously. So this is actually one that students have typed into, and they've started to add all sorts of information to that that's absolutely key. And those students that have really good note-taking skills, they can easily, as we're discussing it, take down those notes. But for some that's actually really complex. So what you can do is you can save this to a specific file and email it out to them, and then they can fill in the rest of the boxes or customize it and personalize it a little bit more. What I do like to do is down towards the end of the evaluation, where it starts to become much more personal, is leave those kind of sections blank. But if you start off doing the lower level kind of evaluation skills with all the whole group, then they start to see how simple the process actually is. And this is something that I do absolutely every single lesson, and it becomes second nature for them. When we talk about evaluation, they will go and talk about the picture, the learning, the point, the success, the solution, and it will be instilled in them.